And
Yay.
supposedly we're live. I don't know. Is it on? Is the stream on? Somebody tell me if the stream is on. I would very much like to know. I'm waiting for the delay just to make sure that everything is right. And we are live. Yes, I see it now. I have successfully done the stram. Yay. So, hello everybody. Say hello.
Hello.
I can also go in and I can make the announcement post. Everybody bear with me. It's my first time doing this. All right.
Yay.
You've done so good.
Such
Yeah,
good.
I try my best. All right. Yes.
We did it.
Hello everybody. We're just going to go in and see how we're just gonna wait for some people to file in here while we get this going. But yeah, how you guys been? How you doing?
Feeling pretty good. I was gonna play Portal today, but then I took a nap instead. That tells you anything about my day.
I mean, naps are good too.
Yeah, naps are real good.
Portal, all good.
It was a real good nap.
Yeah.
I went to the store, so I was watching a thing, and somebody mentioned this ice cream.
Ooh.
It's got like marshmallows and caramel and little chocolate fishies in it, and it just sounded amazing. Yes.
Ooh.
Fish food. Plug.
I love that flavor.
Definitely not sponsored by Ben & Jerry's, but
bro, that's my dream sponsorship. I never stop eating them. I love that overpriced ice cream because it's not overpriced. It's the right price because it's delicious.
It has little chocolate fishies in it. I mean, how do you argue with that? Like,
it's so
damn.
good. God, I want it now. Awesome.
So I heard about it, and I went to the store, and they didn't have it. And I was really sad. And then I went to the store again, and they did have it, and then I was less sad.
Hell
Hooray.
Yeah.
And that's my story.
This is good.
Well, welcome everybody who's now filing in here. Welcome to the KRWBY Talk podcast. I am your host, Brian. I voice Neptune for Ruby Abridged. I also do the audio things. I'm the head of the audio department. And I've done some other like righty things here and there as well. Hey, Forrest, who are you?
Podcast to talk about the anime and also not the anime sometimes.
Yes, that is correct. And Katie, who are you?
Well, I'm a producer here at KRWBY Productions, and I've done directy things. I've also done righty things as well. I've also done the voice acting. I've done the voice acting the longest. I'm Weiss, Cinder, Penny, and Velvet on the team, and sometimes random background characters if you look hard enough. I'm around. What is up, my dudes? KRWBY, let's heckin' go. Dab.
Hell heckin' yeah. It's gonna be a good ass time. So yeah, today a little different. There's no Ian today.
Down a member.
Down a member.
Robot voice overlord has left us for the day.
Yeah, so we're down a member. And he also was usually the one who ran the stream. So I'm running the stream today, and I've never run any strams before. So be gentle with me. I'm doing my best. I'm figuring this out as we go. So yeah, I apologize in advance. But yeah, so we're talking about some things today. I'm excited to talk about things today.
So many things happened.
Yeah, we got some anime. We're going to talk about some SAO, and then at the end of the podcast, we're of course going to talk about that Good ReZero, which is of course the name of the podcast and what is up on the screen right now. So be sure to stick around for all of that stuff. But yes, Tommy Nelson, we are talking about anime. It's going to be a good time. But speaking of anime, and maybe even some not anime, why don't we go to our first segment, which is, of course, hey guys, what are you watching? Who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? Me?
Yeah, I know what you're watching.
You want me to go first? All right, I can go first.
Brian.
All right, I will go first. with what I'm watching. So we kind of touched base on this a little bit last week. So I felt like it was appropriate to bring it up because Katie and I were waving our degenerate cards in the air
Very,
with
very proudly, very loudly.
with Super X Eros and Begata HK. So I figured the only appropriate way to follow it up this week was with a little show called Hensky.
God.
Hensky's a show, my guys. We're just gonna come out of the gate swinging with the horny anime here.
Oh my God, this show is terrifying.
This show,
I can't say terrible. It's terrifying though.
This show is we had a whole debate about this. Katie and I had a whole debate about this the other day. While this show isn't like, I guess, the dirtiest show I've ever seen, it's possibly one of the shows that I'm the most ashamed to admit that I watched and enjoyed. It's definitely one of those like guilty pleasure shows. So I guess the basic premise for this show is you've got this main dude who you can see in this picture here. No, he's really not that lucky, Tommy. I'm sorry to tell you. He of course has his harem in his high school, but
yes, he does.
Basically, I suppose I should say the full title of the series, which is Hensky. Are you willing to fall in love with a pervert as long as she's cute?
Oh, and it's a trip, and especially if you're gonna watch the show, you need to watch the dub version because they had so much fun with the script.
I'm about to talk about the dub for a second, but no, I wanted to explain the rest of the premise here first.
Yeah.
Basically, this dude, he's in a club and he knows all these girls, and all these girls are into him. You know, typical like harem situation. But all of them have a very specific kink that defines them as a person, and they are very forward with him.
Love it.
Some of it is very uncomfortable, like the dog girl. I don't want to get too into I don't want to spoil. I mean, like, yeah, you can probably guess some of them from the image.
Imagine.
You can probably guess some of them from the image, but yeah, I don't want to spoil all the kinks because that's half the fun is like trying to guess what kink each girl has. Yeah. So that's the general premise of this. Oh, I forgot the most important part. So the whole thing starts because he's on a quest, because he gets left a love letter one day, but with the love letter also gets left a pair of panties.
Yeah.
And so the whole show is this quest to figure out who this mystery person is that left this love letter and also the panties.
Yeah, what do they refer to her as, Brian?
And that's where it's time to start talking about the dub. Because Katie and I watched this dubbed, and this is one of those few anime, because we're normally sub-watchers, but this is one of those few anime where the dub is not only good, but the dub is head and shoulders better than the sub. And honestly, the reason why is like in the sub version, everything's played very straight. It's just kind of like very typical, like honestly kind of boring, like harem show. But the dub was acutely aware of the material that it was working with, and decided to meme this shit up. And it's glorious. So, for example, in the sub, they refer to the mystery person who left the underwear as Cinderella, and he's looking for his Cinderella. The dub was like, nah, we can do better than that. The dub refers to her as Undierella. And the entire dub is filled with these meme gems, with a few of my favorites being, "That's a yikes from me, dog."
And storage knockers.
Storage knockers. "Not today, Satan." And "I see you too are a woman of culture." And
Imagine an anime character just saying this shit.
it's not quite another Ghost Stories situation. Like they are very faithful to like what the story is trying to do and what it's trying to tell, but they definitely like go hard with playing with the script to really amp up the comedy in places where the comedy maybe wasn't as strong in the original Japanese version.
Yeah, they do kind of ghost stories up a lot
Mhm.
of bits, but they actually, yeah, they maintain the original story and don't just completely alter it. But yeah, it's kind of perfect because it
Mhm.
allows for a lot of situations that, yeah, like Brian said, a normal anime would just kind of lean straight into. It wildly exaggerates them. And
Mhm.
even the context in the show can sometimes be a little more dramatic than probably was originally intended, and that makes it funnier. You'll find yourself just bursting out laughing, like, in the
Yeah.
middle of it. Please watch it with people, god.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun. And yeah, like it's it's a pretty, in my opinion, I feel like it'd be a pretty meh show watching it in sub, but it's just the most hilarious time in dub. So yeah, it's on Funimation. Highly recommend you guys go check it out. There's even like there's one line in particular that I think makes the entire show, but I can't say it
Mhm.
because it's a spoiler.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, my
Yeah.
dude.
So it's just memeified. Is there like a begone thought moment? I don't think there's any point where they actually use the phrase begone thought, but there are many a moment like that for sure.
Yeah, they have very similar wordings
Mhm.
and other memes that are in the same vein that they do use.
And they have wild and crazy wordings that like I'd never think to come up with. Like they came up with so many different ways to refer to a pair of underwear.
Oh, yeah. And also to refer to anime titties, they have to
Mhm.
spice it up each time and call them a weird word.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's so much fun. It is etchy, so obviously be wary of that. But yeah, it's the dub just makes this show worth it. I highly recommend everybody go watch it. It's a time. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. So who wants to go next?
Not it.
Well, Forrest, you're it. Oh, Forrest?
Did we lose
Oh,
the boy?
did we lose the boy? Forrest, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
Where's the boy?
I don't know.
How could he do this? Fine, I guess I'll have to
I
talk about my amazing show until we find the boy.
yeah. All right. You go ahead and talk about your show, Katie.
Hell yeah. Well, this is a show I warned you motherfuckers I was gonna come back with some goddamn Dungeons and Dragons, boyos. And let me tell you about one of the most amazing Dungeons and Dragons campaigns I've ever listened to. And I feel like it's a shared sentiment among many people because they are one of the most successful D&D streams of all time. And I'm talking, of course, about Critical Role.
Hell
So,
yeah.
you guys, if you're not already listening to it, I can't recommend it enough. And if you are, I'm so happy for you because dear God. There are two campaigns for Critical Role. There's their first one, and then there's the one they're doing now, which is the Mighty Nine. And I personally have only ever listened to the Mighty Nine. I never listened to the original. But I last year actually decided, you know what? I want to listen to all of Critical Role or the current campaign. I want to catch up with the campaign because fuck it. So I started it, and every episode is like 4 hours long. So, and there were like 90 episodes, so do the math. I listened to a lot of Critical Role that year, and I caught up. And right now, I'm only 1.5 episodes behind because I'm halfway through last week's episode, and then like this week's came out. Or well, no, I'm halfway through the 2 weeks ago episode, and then last week's episode just came out and just now got put on YouTube. So I'll probably catch up with those this week. But yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
essentially a D&D campaign that's streamed on Twitch with professional voice actors, and the characters are really fun, and they each have their own little quirk and gimmick of what they're trying to get to. And I think one thing that separates this D&D campaign from others, because I'm currently listening to 3 different campaigns. The last time I talked, I was talking about Sui and D and how theirs was kind of like a romantic comedy that takes place in hell that also
Mm-hmm.
has other backstory stuff. This one is definitely your comedy adventure show. Like like it's it's getting an animated series for a reason. I mean, not the Mighty Nine, their original, I guess, show is, but these performers really know how to bring a world to life, and Matthew Mercer is one of the most amazing and descriptive dungeon masters of all time, and they know how to really commit to bits and make things super heckin' funny and also dramatic, and they really act out the deep and dark points, and um it flows so smoothly because they've been doing it for so long, and each story is so intricate, and there are even moments that surprise me. Like, I think Critical Role made me cry maybe twice, and oh god,
Damn.
it's got some amazing storytelling, and it's long episodes, but you can listen to the episodes and it'll be good. And even the fight scenes um can get really exciting, and I like to listen to them thoroughly, because there's some Dungeons and Dragons games where I listen and like the fight scenes, I kind of just have them in the background while I'm doing stuff. But because these players are so experienced and they really know how to utilize their characters narratively as well, like with their fighting moves and their fighting styles, it's really interesting listening to them fight too and get so excited about what moves they're going to use because they know their move set so well and skillfully. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's really really good. Highly recommend giving it a listen. And the bits that they do at the beginning of every episode too, even their advertisements, are super fun, and the community is really beautiful. So yeah, 10 out of 10.
Hell yeah. Forrest, are you are you gonna unmute yourself and and come back and join us? Oh no.
Oh heck, what happened to the boy?
I don't know what happened to the boy. I'm scared. He has he has abandoned us.
I think the only thing that could explain what happened is that Forrest died, and he's currently
Mm-hmm.
being reincarnated into another universe. And oh my god, he's typing! What?
Oh, he's typing. It's okay.
What does
You
that
can
even mean?
if your room
What
is at
does it
98, just it's okay. We'll deal with the noise. Turn it back on. We want to hear you.
We want to hear you, boy. We want to hear the boy. Okay, I was at first confused at what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So to the audience listening, he just messaged us, so my room is now 98. And if you didn't have the context that we have, that would be a confusing sentence. But what he
Yes.
means is that the temperature in his room has gotten very hot because he was going to try to do the podcast without the air on so that we wouldn't have like the super noise. But it appears that that would not be safe to do. So we are going to hopefully get our boy back, and he will get to be an ice cube like he always wanted with a fan
Yes.
on. Please come back to us, Forrest. We want to know what you've been listening to and or watching and or reading, because, like, media comes in all forms. Please,
Yes. We
Forrest, come back.
return to us.
Return to us. Forrest, come back. Well, anyway, so I guess I could talk about more Critical Role. So, like, this one
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
there's this character named Jester. She's played by Laura Bailey. Actually, yeah, some of the voice actors in this you might recognize. We have Travis Willingham, Laura
Mm-hmm.
Bailey. They're really big in they're really big in like the anime scene, and I'm definitely a fan of Laura Bailey and her work on like Fruits Basket. She plays Toru Honda, and she plays Jester in this one, and she has a very like silly voice that she does, and she's all cute and sweet. And then Travis Willingham has like a lot gruffer of a voice, and he's known for like Roy Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist and stuff like that. And I think there's one dude. Oh,
Oh,
are you back?
can we hear you now? Oh, wait.
Hello?
Forrest? He just
Back.
Oh,
It's
Wait.
the boy.
Talk. Say more words.
Say more words.
I'm trying to say things. There will probably be a really loud noise in the background.
That's
Oh my
okay.
God,
We
clap
don't
in
want
the
you to
chat.
die. He has returned from the dead.
My
It's the
phone
boy.
was actually messing. Like I swear, like the phone was getting so hot, the Wi-Fi was cutting out.
Oh my
That
God.
sounds insane, but the phone was like 1,000,000 degrees, and it was like, this seems bad.
Oh my goodness.
You say I
Well,
sound like.
tell us what
Wait.
you've
to
been
like 98
watching.
here. Anyways.
You say I sound like. Well, I'm sorry. Someone in the chat said I sound like Vic Mignogna. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a compliment.
But yeah. So
Yeah.
Forrest, tell us what you've been watching.
Well, see, there's all these like superhero movies and stuff. There's like a million, back when movies came out,
Yeah. Remember movies?
But like, yeah, I remember movies, movie theaters, popcorn.
Sonic the Hedgehog, best movie of the goddamn century.
Oh my God. But like, you ever get tired of those superhero movies? Like, there's just so many of them, right? And they're all so like, they're so self-righteous,
Oh
Good
yeah.
guys good, bad guys bad, save the world, etc., etc. You want a superhero thing that's a little more morally gray?
I do.
Of course.
Well, I got the thing for you. I think it's on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called The Boys. Now, just to be fair warning, they're not all boys, but there are many
What?
boys. I know. The name is a lie. But it's called The Boys, and it's
Bullshit.
kind of like a satirical, like, black humor look at superhero things, where the superheroes all work for this big corporation, and they're kind of all dicks. Like, they're really not the best people. I would go into why, but spoilers. You should watch it. But yeah, the superheroes are not the good guys, and the bad guys are morally great too. Are they the good guys? Are they the bad guys? Suffice it to say, the boys, there's this group of people, not all boys, who they kind of like, they'll have some grievance with the superheroes. There's some reason why they're all trying to take them down. Spoilers, it's usually pretty horrible. And it gets into all of the morally gray nonsense. Now, it is a very violent show. I mean, we're watching ReZero, right? ReZero definitely has this like glorification of violence at times, right?
Oh yeah.
This is like, okay, so like Game of Thrones is like a level above ReZero. This is like a level above Game of Thrones. There's
Oh
some
goddamn.
gory stuff in this show,
Oh my God.
but it's it plays that like black humor very well. Like this is a darkly humorous, satirical take on superheroes. It's very good. It's very funny, in like a dark and sick kind of way. But it's good. If you're tired of the superhero movies and you just want something to maybe take them down a notch,
Well, hell yeah.
Heck
That
yeah,
sounds-
fam.
season two is out now, kind of. It's like out in. They're releasing it in chunks, apparently, like little blocks of episodes or something, which has a lot of people on the internet upset about stuff for reasons. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of it is out now. More of it will be out later.
Hell yeah. Well, that sounds really heckin' cool.
Mm-hmm.
So on Amazon Prime, go check that out if you can stomach the gore, apparently.
It
Yeah.
is.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yikes.
But yeah. All right. Cool. Well, I think it's time to move on to our next segment.
Oh my God, Brian, is it already?
I think
Is it that time?
I think it is that time.
All right, everybody, buckle your seatbelts.
You weren't here last week, Forrest, so you're gonna be extra confused.
With SAO, I'm always confused.
Yeah, so this is gonna be the first week where I only talk about one episode. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I guess it's time to talk about what the hell happened in SAO this week.
Da da da.
All right, buckle your seatbelts, guys, because some things happened in this episode. All right. Here we go. All right, it's time, my friends. You're probably wondering that age-old question. What the hell happened in Sword Art Online this week?
Tell us, Brian.
Well, that's the question I'm here to answer. And today I'm answering it for Sword Art Online Alicization War of Underworld, Episode 21, Beyond Time. Now, after that major cliffhanger last week, you're probably wondering, Brian, Kirito and Asuna have been trapped in the underworld for 200 years. What happened? How did they spend their time? Did they go insane? Did someone rescue them before the 200 years were up? Did Kirito and Asuna replace Yui with a real Fluctlight child that isn't just an infuriating plot convenience? Well, I can't answer any of that shit, because this episode doesn't cover anything that takes place in the underworld, and I'm tilted about it. Instead, the episode opens with Ringo yelling at Asuna through the computer to log out before it's too late, and Asuna's just like, nah, I think I'm gonna stay here and rule over the masses with Kirito for 200 years. People were like praying to Kirito in the last episode, and being deities for 2 centuries sounds like it could be fun. Also, maybe I'll take up knitting. After 200 years of practicing a hobby, I'd be like a fucking boss at it. Anyways, tell everyone I'm sorry. Bye! And then the Fluctlight acceleration happens, and Asuna and Kirito are officially trapped in the underworld for 200 years. Now, of course, Alice's light cube has been successfully ejected from the underworld and is now in the possession of our heroes. So now all they have to do is just sit tight and wait for the JSDF to storm in. But instead, they decide to open the gate to the bulkhead so that the enemy can come after them, which I'm not entirely sure why they did that. Maybe it'll be explained later, or maybe it was a completely unnecessary ambush. Because Mr. Government JSDF Man is waiting in a shaft to shoot people from up above, while Mr. Science Man is next to him doing computer things to try and log Kirito and Asuna out, and the ambush manages to drive the attackers off by killing one of them, but Mr. Government JSDF Man gets shot, and Mr. Science Man is like, oh no, Mr. Government JSDF Man, are you okay? And Mr. Government JSDF Man is like, yeah, I'm fine. They got me in this bulletproof vest, see? Just ignore the fact that I'm bleeding profusely. And Mr. Science Man is like, oh, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure you were okay. Meanwhile, Gabriel wakes back up in the real world, except he doesn't because he's a ghost now. Which is like, what? How did this happen? First of all, wasn't it a thing that if you died in the underworld that you just get logged out? That happened the first time he died when he was playing as the Dark Emperor Vecta. Why the hell did dying a second time actually kill him? What is this inconsistent science that they're doing at Wrath? Second of all, are we really not done with the ghost shit? Why is he a ghost now? Why were there ghosts in the first place? And why is the little girl he murdered here too? The little girl he murdered literally shows up and drags him down to hell because apparently that was necessary. What the hell are you doing, Reki? Like, to a certain extent, I can understand the whole KRWBY being an internet ghost thing. But, like, Gabriel wasn't in the STL. He's not an internet ghost. He's literally just a ghost. What the hell is going on? I thought this was a sci-fi series about virtual reality. So why the hell do I feel like the next most likely character to enter the room is Scooby-Doo? I just don't know what I'm watching anymore. I really don't. Like, things just happen, and there are no rules anymore. Anything goes now. That's just what this story has become. So, one of the attackers comes into the STL room to find both Gabriel and Vasago dead. He freaks out, and this is the point where the attackers decide that they've failed and it's best to just cut their losses. So they set a bomb in the engine room and retreat back to their submarine because one of their orders was that if they couldn't retrieve Alice, then they were to destroy her. So with the bomb set and the attackers retreating, Ringo and the Project Alicization team now have to disarm it. But since it's a reactor of sorts, heat in the engine room is a problem. And one of the Wrath people is going to sacrifice himself, but then a fucking robot shows up. And it's the robot that they were going to put their perfect Flucklight in, and it's here to save the day, and you'll never believe who's in the robot controlling it.
Tell us,
It's KRWBY! KRWBY is in the robot! Why is KRWBY in the robot? Why is he here? Isn't he busy doing internet ghost things? He's been gone for like 3 seasons. But I guess at least it's consistent that every time he comes back now, it's the Deus Ex Machina the plot. So KRWBY tries to stop the bomb, but then the robot gets damaged and dies because its battery line is destroyed. But Ringo is like, no, KRWBY. You're Commander Heathcliff of the Knights of the Blood Oath. You wouldn't let something as trivial as a lack of battery power stop you. And KRWBY is like, you're right. Fuck battery power, and also the laws of physics and science. This robot is running on willpower now. And the robot comes back to life long enough to stop the bomb from going off, then collapses, because like I said, there are no rules anymore.
Nope.
Meanwhile, as the attackers flee in their submarine, they realize they're short one dead body because when they went into the STL room to retrieve the bodies of Gabriel and Vasigo, Vasigo's body was the only one that wasn't there. So apparently Vasigo is alive? I thought he was a tree! And also trapped in the same Flucklight acceleration that Kirito and Asuna were trapped in. So how the hell did he get out? Also, the KRWBY bot disappeared. It just got up and walked off. So now KRWBY is no longer an internet ghost. Now KRWBY is a robot that's powered by willpower that's somewhere off in the wind. And Kirito and Asuna are about to get logged out. But we get a flashback to the moment that Kirito realizes that Asuna has stayed in the underworld with him. And Asuna's like, it's okay, Kirito. Since we're together, I feel like 200 years really won't feel that long. To which I have to say, Asuna, I don't think you understand time. 200 years is fucking long! And I swear to God, if you guys come out of those STL units 200 years later like nothing happened, I'm gonna flip a goddamn table! And that's what the hell happened in SAO this week.
A perfectly astute and wondrous
God.
description, indeed.
I am
God,
so confused.
It really was a beautiful moment because we were watching it together when the robot, when they were like, it's KRWBY, we all were like, bro, fucking what?
Yeah.
No! And when the robot kept fucking walking, when he was like, nah, fuck my battery not working, I'ma keep moving because the power of friendship, I was like, bro!
Dude, like
The power of friendship defies physics.
Like, it was so funny because like our friend that we watch it with, like the moment the robot came back to life, he just literally screamed, he's like, that's not how robots work.
Hey,
Oh
now,
my
just because
God.
you haven't built a friendship-powered robot doesn't mean it's not possible.
Oh
You know
my
what, Forrest?
God.
That was very rude of me. You're right. You're right. You know, I think we're just gonna have to commit our next segment of the podcast to learning how to build friendship-powered robots because it's clearly the future.
Yeah.
Because Sword Art
And
Online is never wrong and is always right.
Oh yeah.
I think my favorite moment is the Scooby-Doo moment. Like, not entirely sure. As far as I know, Scooby-Doo could have been in that show.
Yeah.
It would have made just as much sense, it seems like.
Wait, there was another moment where they just straight up confirm ghosts are 100% real. Like, it's not speculation, it's ghosts.
Like that's kind of what I was saying is like he's not an internet ghost, like he's just a ghost now. Like
Yeah,
SAO,
ghost
like it's just canon that SAO has ghosts. Like what?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
They've been
to think
steadily
the ghost
implying that
hunters-
shit.
The ghost hunters have been at this for how long, and they haven't found a ghost yet, and yet this show's just like, oh yeah, okay. That's a thing.
We're gonna get people from fucking space, like
Right? Like
Aliens are just gonna show up
next
at some
season,
point.
like people from Mars are just gonna show up and be like, we have more advanced video games than you.
and we're gonna challenge you. We want your best player to play our video game.
Yeah, right. Bring us your Kirito.
Bring us the so-called Kirito. And then Kirito's gonna swamp the floor with the aliens. And then the alien girls are gonna fall in love with Kirito and want to freaking join his harem. And then
Why
he's gonna
not?
conquer their world and save their universe. And then he'll be
Why
like,
not?
what do I do now? And then
It'll
the
be
gods will
it'll
see.
Be like the, it's
Why
like
not
the
collect
anime
alien
version of
waifus?
Ender's Game. Come on, like.
Oh my god.
Oh
It's
my
never gonna
God.
end. We're just gonna have endless like escalations until God himself is like, Kirito, I want you to join me. And then Kirito is like, what do you mean join you? I am you. And looks in the mirror and it turns out he was God.
He's gone all along.
Oh my God.
The real
Well,
harem
that's how
was me.
That's how every JRPG works, right? It's like a bunch of teenagers get together and use the power of friendship to fight God. Only in this one, they didn't have to fight God because Kirito was that all along.
Because Kirito is God. There's a reason he's called Jesus-kun, guys. I mean, come on.
It's true. No
Explains
lies
everything.
detected.
Oh,
Oh
man.
my god. Well, I
Well,
think we can
that
move
was a
on now.
thing. That was a
Away
thing.
from God
So yeah,
Kirito.
I think it's time to talk about the meat and potatoes. I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's time to talk
Potato.
about that good ReZero.
That good ReZero.
So
This was an episode.
yeah,
Oh my
and you weren't here last week. How did you feel about last week's episode, Forrest?
Oh my god.
It was. Remember, I remember saying something like, "Oh, we found out." I don't know if it was last episode. It was 2 episodes ago, maybe. We found out that the maid Frederica is like not even half beast. She's like quarter beast or something.
Yeah.
And then like it's like, okay, well, if she's quarter beast, then she turns into a giant wolf dog and leaps 30 feet into the air.
Mm-hmm.
Does Garfield do? We found out this episode. We found out what he does. It's, our man Subaru's got himself in some trouble, I think.
Yeah.
Quite some trouble.
It's like, forget a rock in a hard place. It's like a crazy dagger woman and a chimera, a giant beast man, and now the new thing.
Can we talk about the fucking rabbits? Oh
I don't want to.
Yeah. Rabbits are.
They're scary.
That was a lot.
That was the most brutal thing I've ever seen ReZero do.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like,
I would say the cave scene with Ram was worse, but not by much.
I don't know about that. I feel like the rabbits were worse.
More, I think.
Because this was the episode where he was trying to figure out how to like kill him, so he was gonna go try and talk to heckin' the greed lady, right? Not greed,
Echidna,
the gluttony.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was episode. He wanted to talk to
Yeah.
Typhon. No, Typhon is right. I wrote this down earlier, but I've already forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
what their names? Anyways, yeah. He talks to a couple of witches in this episode.
Yeah. So there's a couple things here. So yeah, like in this episode. Also, I mean, just obviously, spoilers. ReZero season 2, episode 9. Love you is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you
Spoilers.
haven't seen it and you care about spoilers. But yeah, so we learn a couple things. First and foremost, Echidna is angry at Satella for doing this to Subaru. And she has an interesting line where she says, like, she basically says that, like, nobody can understand what goes on in her mind. Like, there's no way to, like, rationally explain how she thinks. And she explains Return by Death as follows. She's when Subaru asks her, like, is there any limit to Return by Death? And she says,
which is a question we've had for a long time in the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Subaru is constantly like plagued by this notion of like, how many times can I do this? Am I gonna like, is this the last time?
Right.
Like, this has been this question that's been burning in his brain for the whole seriously, now we finally get an answer, kind of.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah, kind of, because she says as
Well,
much as I can. Yeah.
I mean, she does give an answer. What she says is, vexing as it may seem, the power that lets you return by death is the witch's intense delusion. So long as that delusion persists, there will be no end to your deaths.
But
That
right
is what
before
she
she says
says.
that, she does say that she's only speculating, but it seems like there isn't a limit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it very much seems like there isn't a limit. And
Yeah, which is
also,
probably true, but yeah, just has have to make the note that she's only speculating. She does not
yeah,
know for certain.
She doesn't know for certain. No.
but this but I think it's really interesting that she's describing um the return by death thing that Kirito, Jesus Christ, that
Oh
Subaru
my
has, um, uh, as being as being the witch's delusion. I think
Mhm.
that wording is very, very interesting.
Mhm.
As
Uh,
if as if to say that if ever the witch maybe was defeated or gained some sort of clarity or insight and became maybe less insane, that he only gets one life after that.
right. Yeah.
Like
So
he defeats the witch and then everything is
mhm.
sunshine and rainbows?
Maybe. I
Maybe.
don't know.
Probably not, but
Yeah, if
Knowing
only it
this
was that
show,
simple.
probably not. Yeah.
yeah. Knowing
Yeah.
this show,
So it's seemingly the case that there is no limit to how many times return by death can be used. Um, it's also confirmed that return by death only cares for Subaru's survival. It doesn't care for
Yeah.
the survival of anybody else. If Subaru manages to survive, but others die, his checkpoint will move on with those others remaining dead. That's how this system
which
works.
we've kind of confirmed, right?
Yeah.
Because he's well, she says specifically like I think Echidna says something like, no matter how many you sacrifice, return by death will only bring you
Mm-hmm.
back. Like your checkpoint will advance. You will event all of those deaths are permanent essentially. And the way she talks about it is like, I think she mentions something about destiny, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
destiny will. It like your fate is tied to this. The way she sort of describes it makes me think that maybe there isn't a way to go back, because we were thinking like, okay, maybe he can like fix quote unquote Rem, right? Maybe he
Mm-hmm.
can bring her memories back or bring back her sister's memories of her or something like that, like undo
Right.
the damage that the whale did. And I don't know that that's a thing that is possible,
Well, that's
right?
a whole
It's
other
already been.
conversation because there is a potential. I do see there being potential that Rem, because her body is still alive, the memories and
Mm-hmm.
everything were consumed, but there could be a way to cure this ailment if you look at it from that perspective, without necessarily reversing time. I don't
Right.
know how by any stretch, but I do think it's a possibility that the show might tease.
Well,
Yeah. Well,
I thought there was like I could be just pulling this out of my ass, but I thought something was said about um like if the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, who stole her memories and uh her face, right? If if he's defeated, then all of the things that were lost will be returned. I thought there was something
Yeah,
stated
I
about that.
feel like I
I don't
remember that
remember.
being said, but I can't quite place my finger on it. But that does
Hmm.
sound like something that,
Yeah.
could be a cure. That's a lead anyway, if that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's certainly a possibility. I think
Yeah, yeah.
it's not off the table.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
But yeah.
Subaru, with this new information, I mean, he makes up his mind to use this power as many times as needed to protect other people, right? Which also means that, like, Subaru's fear in that last timeline where Beatrice saved him was definitely very well founded, right?
Mhm.
It's like, if he doesn't die, then, everything is, there's a possibility that everything's just going to continue on like normal.
Yeah.
With all of these people now dead.
Yeah.
So, Subaru then, of course, asks the obvious question, what the hell was up with the rabbits?
Yup.
Yeah.
And apparently they're called the Great Rabbit, and it's apparently one of the
Singular.
3 great maw beasts, the white whale, the black serpent, and the great rabbit.
Well, the 3 great maw beasts of gluttony specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because we haven't confirmed whether or not any of the other witches or sin archbishops or whatever have created monsters of their own.
Yeah,
We just know that
That's true.
gluttonies seem to kind of. There's some big problems.
Yeah, Gluttony
Yeah.
likes to make them. I don't remember anything about the serpent, so there's potential that the serpent doesn't belong to Gluttony. Maybe.
No. She made all 3 of them. It stated that she made all 3 of them.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. It said specifically. They said they were created 400 years ago by the witch of gluttony, Daphne.
Yes.
A single
Okay.
rabbit can multiply infinitely, and they hunger for all living things, and you have to, and because they can multiply infinitely, you basically have to destroy all of them at once. Otherwise, they'll just come back. So they're almost impossible to destroy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you're trying to root out gophers in your field and like you miss one gopher, and then the next second, all of the gophers are back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It sounds very annoying especially when the gophers can, tear you limb from limb.
No, definitely.
I could see that being a problem.
And
little
this
bit.
episode did a really good job with Subaru just getting right to the point. Like Subaru's just like, all right, I'm here. I have some fucking questions, my dude, and I want to get this figured out. And then from there, I think he just starts talking to Echidna like, who brought up the idea of getting to meet? No, she brought up the idea
She
of
brought
being
up
able
the
to
idea,
ask
but
the
there is
other.
one other thing that happens before that.
Ah,
So,
yes.
Subaru, now armed with this new information, he's kind of like trying to think about his game plan for how he's going to tackle this next life, right? And so his new game plan is that he needs to try and free everyone from the sanctuary, and he's going to try to bring everybody to the mansion to help with the fight against Elsa. And he only has 4 days to do this. So
yeah, I like how this arc started out with like, okay, we gotta get it. We gotta do this trial thing. Everything is cool. All right, the mansion. Oh, the Bowel Hunter's back. Great. Okay, then we can deal with that. That's, we've dealt with her before, right? It's a problem, but it's not an insurmountable one. And then it's like, oh wait, she's also there with a giant like chimera monster, and then Garfield is kind of a problem, and he's gonna prison me or kill me or try to do something, and now there's these rabbit, and she's like, every problem he runs into is just like worse and worse and worse and worse. Like we thought way back at the beginning of the season that like, oh yeah, the Bowel Hunter, that seems pretty bad, and now it's just like killer rabbits.
Yeah.
Like, how did we get here?
Like he never figured out how to solve the first problem, and now we've got like 3 more even worse problems than that.
Yeah. Oh man.
This is exponentially worse each time.
Yeah. So in order to stop, or go ahead.
I think there's one more thing about these 3 beasts. I think because they talk about the whale, they talk about the rabbits, and they talk about the serpent that we haven't seen, right? And I was thinking about this because like the rabbits eat all living things, right? So they're kind of they eat flesh, bone, whatever, right? They're like physical stuff, right? And the whale, I mean, sure, the whale like eats people too, but the whale is more like it eats memories, like it eats, the minds of people and the memories. So it makes me wonder what the snake does. Like what,
I have a
what
theory.
third?
I have a theory.
All right.
Let's hear it.
What if? Okay, because whale memories, all that stuff, directly affiliated with like maybe the ego of humanity. Rabbit, like the flesh. What if the serpent eats like concepts? Maybe. Like, I don't know,
Well,
like something like really deep, because like
because like
serpents, especially in literature, can kind of represent something much larger.
yeah, because like the white whale ate people's like faces, right? Because people would like forget, uh,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right? So
It eats like
maybe
your
the serpent,
memories and it eats
yeah.
people's
Well,
memories
it
of
eats
you.
people's memories of you, and so maybe the serpent eats uh eats your memories, your personal memories, and then the rabbit eats the flesh.
Nape, I thought the
Well, the
whale also,
whale.
because I thought the whale did both of those, right?
No, I think the whale just simply ate the
Oh, other people's memories, you because it was the gluttony archbishop that ate specifically
that
like
ate
people's.
because it was the Archbishop of Gluttony that ate both for Rem.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
the
But
whale
with the white
just
whale,
Like the
people would
body.
just like forget about people's existence.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was coming at this as from a more like, yeah, the typical triumvirate mind body spirit kind of thing. Whale
Mhm.
does memories of mind, kind of similar. Rabbit does
Mhm.
body, and then whatever spirit would be in this, maybe magical ability, or maybe like
Mhm.
willpower or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we
Just
will
Yeah.
we
spitballing.
will
But
see. But I really want to get to these witches.
Yeah.
yeah.
So in order to stop the Great Rabbit, Echidna suggests that Subaru talk to Daphne herself to see if she can offer any insight. He's given some warnings. He's warned not to release her restraints, not to touch her, and to avoid eye contact. And
Which,
he's
to
and
be
he's like,
fair,
oh, go ahead.
to be fair, he does none of those things with the next witch that he meets.
No, he does none of them.
Literally
Totally.
seconds later, breaks
Yeah,
all those rules. Now it turns out the witch he meets not
yeah.
actually the witch he meets,
We're getting
It's
into that,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, her. It's a
but
little lolly girl, and she's fucking
he didn't know
terrifying.
that.
Her
He
name
didn't
is
know that at the
He
time.
didn't know that. Yeah, her name is Typhon, and she is the Witch of Pride, and she
But
breaks
he didn't
Subaru
know
into a
that.
million pieces.
But
First, she
to be
rips his
fair,
arm off, and
Subaru
then
did touch her. He took her hand.
I mean, yeah, she really should have seen this coming.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah, I was looking back at the episode that like described because like Echidna is telling us about the backstories of some of the witch like the
hmm.
their sins or whatever. And it was interesting because she like kind of phrases it almost like they were good things, right? Like I think
Hmm.
for pride, she says like out of a childish, innocence or something, she
Hmm.
judged criminals, you know, like harshly or something like that, right?
Right.
And it's like kind of like she was just a kid, she didn't really understand, you know, kind of thing. And I was trying to
Hmm.
figure out like how each of the things that she describes would maybe be perceived as evil because the way she kind of describes them is like, oh well, I'm the witch of greed. I'm just interested in knowing all things. I mean, what's bad
Hmm.
about that, right? Right. But like
Hmm.
Hmm.
clearly, witches are seen as evil in this world. She admits that she herself has done some evil things. So
Hmm.
it's like, how could these things be perceived as evil? And so like, I was trying to. I'll say more about that when we get to gluttony. But
Yeah. So, yeah, Typhon's terrifying, and then the Witch of Wrath, Minerva, comes in and saves him, and she's a character.
She is wonderful.
she
And she's
she
wrath?
punches hearts.
She is Wrath, yeah.
I did not expect her.
It's a very
Wrath.
interesting take on Wrath, like coming in and like
Yeah.
saving people with hearts.
Oh my
Like,
god, yeah.
where like, and she's like, I think the last thing that she says is like, like, don't let this happen again because next time I'll just come back and save everybody. And
I'll
Subaru's like,
heal everyone.
yeah, I'll heal everybody. And Subaru's like, why are you making that sound like a threat? Like,
That's great.
Yeah. 'Cause I
yeah.
think what is it? Echidna says like she like beat up people to heal them because of like some war torn past or something. I forget exactly what she said, but it's like it I was trying to figure out how to make that one into something evil, and I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, so so he gets to meet Minerva, and then that's when Subaru finally meets Daphne. And she's also terrifying.
Oh yeah.
She tells Subaru that the Great Rabbit is drawn to mana. So one could use a powerful magic user as a lure and then exterminate them all at once because the rabbits will all be in one place.
Mm-hmm.
Cue Subaru doing his typical "I'm gonna make a bunch of black smoke" thing.
Yeah, right?
That's probably the first thing he thought of, I bet you.
I mean, I'm thinking that, like, maybe Rosewall?
Maybe.
Maybe
And I like
Rosewall?
that they also she also includes in her description the fact that they aren't smart enough to avoid being captured or killed.
Right,
So
yeah.
you can like do a straightforward plan, like, and then there's another element of their creation that I really love that I'm sure you wrote down, Brian, but
Mm-hmm.
it's one of my favorite things, and I kind of wanted to talk about it.
But go ahead.
I thought it was a beautiful moment where Subaru asks, "Why did you create these terrifying creatures like
Mm-hmm.
that are eating everyone and killing everyone?" And she's like giving a straightforward answer with this complete sincerity of how for gluttony, like everyone needs to eat. So I'm going to create a creature that can infinitely multiply so that no one ever goes hungry. And Subaru's like, well, what? No, that's not working because, fuck, they're actually eating everyone. And then she says, like, in, I don't remember the exact words, but she says, like, do you really have so much hubris as to believe that if something exists that you can eat, that you would deny the fact that you yourself could be eaten? Like, she
Yeah.
creates them with the fair play of like, "Look, I created these to maybe serve the purpose of being eaten, but do you think it's fair to try to eat something and not think for a second it could eat you back?" Like,
Yeah.
that was
it's
really,
very much this
really
eat or
cool.
be eaten kind of.
Yeah. No, very much so. So,
Yeah, now that's what I meant when like trying to think about like how these things could be evil, because the way Echidna phrases it is like gluttony made some monsters to like end world hunger or something. It's like, oh, that seems good, right? People, endless food. What's wrong about that? Well, what if the food tries to eat you back?
yeah.
You know, so like gluttony's thing is eating, right? Whatever,
Yeah.
doesn't care who's doing the eating, what's doing the eating, just as long as eating is happening, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in her mind, that's entirely fair, that's entirely justified. Here's this infinite food source, but it's really dangerous, like it'll eat you back. So
Yeah.
it's this balance of like, as long as the cycle of life, as long as things are eating other things, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like there's this amorality. It's not evil and it's not good. It's just like neutral.
Yeah. It's very.
Yeah, although she did make those rabbits so powerful that I don't know if there's any regular things that could even justifiably have a chance against them.
I mean, yeah, she did make a whale the size of like, a skyscraper. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
guess.
she didn't give the rabbits any like higher intelligence, but I do think the
Just,
whale had a little bit of intelligence.
I could hear your thought process there, Forrest. You were just like, she made a whale the size of a whale. Wait.
Yep. She sure did do that.
But no, yeah, like it's definitely really interesting, kind of like thinking about, like the other things that the witches might do that like could have some like evil connotation to them, or could be like amoral in some way, in the same way that like gluttony is amoral with her maw beasts. But Subaru also declares that he's going to rid the world of the three great maw beasts, and Daphne finds this very amusing.
She doesn't think he can't do it, though. I mean, she does give him a plan. Like,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She does give him some ideas.
Well,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
that's kind of in character. I feel like she's
yeah, it
like,
Mhm.
all
is.
right, have at it. You wanna go for it? Be
Yeah.
careful.
She believes in the circle of life. Like, she created them with the full intention that they're gonna be killing, but if
Mhm.
they're killed, like, that's a-okay. Like, she doesn't have any
Yeah.
special lingering attachment to them as long as eating is happening.
Yep. Exactly. So,
Mhm.
once he's back with Echidna, he then marvels at how normal Echidna is compared to the other witches.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh,
um, and but so they have this conversation and they're kind of talking about like I guess next steps. And Echidna uh poses this idea or poses this kind of wondering that is something that I've kind of, I guess, been hoping for this entire season, where Echidna wonders if Subaru will be able to give wings to Amelia, who is struggling to complete the trials. Like, not go in and, like, complete the trials in her place necessarily, but, like, you know, is he going to be able to help her get to a place where she can be the one to complete the trials?
Yeah.
well, she almost like expresses a lack of faith in Amelia. I think she says like,
Yeah.
you could probably do it, but she's been trying the last couple. I've been watching her try the last couple of times, and I don't think she's going to be able to do it without help,
Hmm.
right? Or
Yeah.
without you intervening some to give her the strength to
Hmm.
do it or something. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be Subaru directly helping.
Right.
As it is, she doesn't really have faith in Amelia to do anything. It seems.
Yeah. So it's like, it's definitely I'm excited to see that because I've been kind of hoping all season that that's the direction that it would take, where like Subaru would kind of like be her rock and kind of like be her support in this to help her do something rather than Amelia being like Subaru's motivation to do something, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. Makes me hopeful we're gonna get some backstory.
Oh yeah, same.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
so then something is happening outside to Subaru, and he's like waking up. And so
Yes.
Subaru asks if he'll be able to return and talk with Echidna again. And Echidna's like, yeah, but no. Is like, if you call to me like from the bottom of your heart, I'll answer. But each time the conditions for how hard you have to call to me get like more and more strict.
Yeah.
And of course he'll still be able to talk with her like if he goes and like undergoes the trial or stuff like that. Um but yeah, like
That's a freebie, I guess.
it's
Mhm.
probably gonna be like, considering the fact that like his mind was like fucking broken after the rabbits, and that was like the condition that had to be met for him to attend the witch's tea party for a second time. Like, God, what's gonna have to
Yeah.
happen to Kirito? Jesus Christ, I've been watching too much goddamn
Oh my
Sao.
god,
Uh,
Ryan.
uh, uh,
You're
He's
obsessed.
not Kirito.
yeah, I like what's gonna happen to Subaru. Like, what's gonna have to happen to Subaru in order to attend the witch's tea party a third time? Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be. I'm scared. I'm scared to see where it goes.
I'm glad at least this time he asked some critical questions. Like he got down to
Yeah.
brass tacks and was like, "Okay, I got a problem. Tell me how to solve it. You know stuff.
Mhm.
What do you know?" Because the
Hmm.
last time he was there, or like I guess the first time he was there, it was like, "Don't you want to ask me any questions?" And he was like, "Nah, I'm
Nah.
good. I'm cool."
He's like too
Mhm.
Like
preoccupied with like
you,
Amelia. Yeah.
Yeah.
you have like a witch here who told you that she's the embodiment of the thirst for knowledge and she knows lots of things, and you're like, "Nah, I'm good."
Nah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I
Um.
don't think like instinct wise Subaru's always like it. He takes a little while to come around to the plan.
Yeah, he's not always the smartest. He does some dumb things sometimes.
Whole like, let me shake your hand. Wait, where'd my arm go?
Yeah.
Yep.
she was like, look, don't touch her. And he's like, nah. Touches her, loses arm. Why did I lose my arm? Why the fuck did you think, Subaru? You touched her.
This bitch.
Like,
Well, like
Beautiful.
he resists initially, and she like pouts a little bit that he's not shaking hands, and he's like, okay. And that didn't take much, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, though he's back in the real world, and he's like,
well, not
"Geez,
quite,
where's
because
Amelia?"
Echidna.
Oh, we're not going back.
No, because Echidna then takes payment so that Subaru can remember
Yes,
their
the payment
conversation
before he
Yeah.
goes back in the real world.
Yeah,
Yes.
and she decides to take the handkerchief that Petra gave him, but it won't
Yes.
actually be gone in real life.
Mhm.
Which is, and Subaru's like, well, then, what's the point of doing that? Then I don't understand. And she's, and what she says is, oh well, I mean, like, she gave this out of concern for you. That's nothing trivial. And she says, this payment is recognition of that person's existence, and perhaps a bit of meddling as well.
It made me think. Okay, here's because he's not gonna lose the actual armband, right?
Yeah.
And he like wakes up and then he sees the armband.
Yeah,
I
they're
thought
there.
it was
They
gonna
didn't
be
lose it.
like he loses the memory of Petra, maybe. Like he forgets why that armband is there.
See, that's what I was thinking, but
Yeah.
then he went and immediately checked on the handkerchief.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, it makes me
And
think that he still remembers Petra and all of that stuff. So I don't know what she did.
In some
Maybe
weird
she
way,
took Petra's memory of him?
no, in
Oh,
some weird
God.
way, and this is a really weird theory. I think that what she craves most is the feeling of acknowledgement. And so even that feeling in itself, to share in it, is can be a form of payment. So in the mind sphere, giving of that handkerchief that symbolizes something like that almost gives her like a high, just having it internally. Like she's taking that feeling not away from him, but to truly experience it herself. I know that's super deep, but like
I mean,
so you think
maybe
she's sharing in that feeling, but she's not taking it away from him?
no,
I
exactly. Like it's something that represents that that acknowledgement and acceptance, and she wants to add that to her thing, but not take it away from him, but
I'm
just like sharing it maybe. I
Okay.
don't know. It's a
I'm
weird
gonna
theory.
go out of my way and just throw this out there and say that this is ReZero. Therefore, I think this is going to have some kind of real cost to it.
The only reason I think it could potentially even be what I'm suggesting is also because it's ReZero, it goes some weird directions sometimes. And if there was a show that would pull some shit like that, where your expectations would be really subverted, it would be this one. So that's the only reason, that theory I have, which is as outlandish as it is, that I could even come to that type of conclusion. But I do agree. I do think realistically there is going to be some more to that. But my theory is more wholesome, and it's possible if they really want to subvert our expectations because we're expecting it to really have an effect.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's true. That's true.
What was the payment last time? I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember. I forget. Does anybody in
'Cause
chat
he
remember
loses
what the
his
payment was
memories.
last time?
He loses his memories the first time, and then like the second time, it's like, how do I not lose my memories? And then she takes like a payment, and then this time was the same. So he can remember the conversation, but I don't remember what payment he gave the last time.
She was like, didn't she like touch his forehead or something, and then like lick her lips, and was like payment received?
Maybe
Yeah, that
because
sounds about
maybe
right.
the payment
Oh,
that
it
she
was
wants.
the oath. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah.
Because she wants knowledge, and knowledge can be shared. Knowledge doesn't have to just
Mhm.
exclusively be for one person. So sometimes a payment can be something that isn't taken away, but something that is given and shared.
Oh,
Something
did he
that
call? Okay, so
multiplies
wait,
rather
so he
than-
didn't. Looking at chat, he didn't remember her. the payment was the fact that he could not remember her.
Or that he couldn't remember her outside of this place, but when he
Right.
returns to the place, he, you know.
He can.
Yeah.
Okay, but but this time he's able to remember because he paid with something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But yeah, that's for the payment.
yeah. So
Okay. Yeah.
the final words that Echidna says to Subaru are that if he does manage to attend the witch's tea party for a third time, that in that case there is something that she would like to tell him.
Mm-hmm.
So Subaru wakes
does
up
that
and
mean?
decides. So yeah. And what did the oath do again? I'm not sure. I don't think they've explained that yet.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
There's a lot they haven't explained still.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good. Build up to it.
So Subaru wakes up and decides that he's going to be counting on Echidna in the future, which makes sense. She seems pretty useful now.
Yeah.
And also is I don't want to say honorary best girl because that's already Krush.
Of course.
So I would like to propose a new title of of best witch.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think
I'm in.
I think Echidna deserves the title of best witch.
So far, so good. I mean, yeah.
Outside of Little Witch Academia, obviously.
Well.
Okay. I mean, but like that's a different show. There can be a new best witch for each show.
Of course, and
Yeah,
they can join
just
the
like
witch's
best
harem
witch
instead of the witch's
overall.
cult.
Right. Not just best witch overall. That's insane. Do you have any idea how much like the anime fandom would be in flames if one were only allowed to have one best girl?
Because obviously the best girl would be Blair from Soul Eater. Even though she's not really a witch, I think.
See, this is how wars start. All right.
Blair is technically not a witch because they wanted like a witch's soul or something, and then she was like, "Oh no, I just like pumpkins." Like, but anyway, so are we awake yet?
So Emilia is gone, and there is a dark shadow covering the land. And Subaru comes.
The floor is not so much lava as like.
Yeah, it's just like
thick
shadow
lava of blackness and darkness.
And Subaru comes face to face with the Witch of Envy herself, Satella. And can I just go and say like just fucking bravo to the sound team and to the video editing team on this scene, because it was so masterfully crafted. Like the way they were doing the fast cuts, all of the like little things in the sound design and the music and like the dialogue processing, that just really went out of its way to serve this purpose of just making you uncomfortable as fuck.
Oh yeah.
The like rainy, like reverse color shots that flash in and out or whatever, and
and
like
having
all the horror tropes.
Yeah, and like when Satella comes and like whispers in Subaru's ear, like her dialogue is out of phase, so it's just like really, it's like super wide, but it's also like really disconcerting, like to your equilibrium. So it's just like, oh my god, it was really, really great. Really, really, really beautifully put together. And
I like just visual design wise too. I like because she's got kind of a witch look and shape on top, but she's just like the pointy bit of this goop, right? Like the shadow, this like sea of shadows that has, swallowed up the landscape. She's just like this little tentacle arm that sticks up.
Ooh, and how creepy they make it too visually when she goes and gives him that hug.
Yeah. Like, God, what a, like, this is our first time, like, really getting a proper introduction to, like, actually, like, seeing Satella in the show, and, like, because we've gotten to see, like, flashes and, like, bits and pieces of her, and, like,
lots
like
of spooky arms and
Yeah, spooky
Yeah.
arms like coming out and like caressing his heart and stuff. But like they knocked this introduction out of the park. Like
Yeah.
they made sure that that build up to her being this terrifying thing did not fall flat.
Yeah.
Really.
Whereas like Echidna is like creepy in a different way, right?
No,
Yeah.
yeah. Like some of them had different levels of creepy, but in terms of the obsession that we see presented falling in line with the narrative that we've kind of been getting used to with this witch, it really like from the title to the setup, it really hit hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really did. So yeah,
Mhm.
that was just a wow. Wow, wow, wow. But yeah, and like her just like coming in with just like over and over and over again with her Eisteddus, right?
Yeah.
And we were
Yeah.
speculating that it. So I had a theory, right?
Yeah,
Upon
and I
watching this
had some.
episode,
Yeah, yeah.
which was like, so Emilia is gone, right?
Yes.
Emilia has disappeared, and we know, I'm pretty sure, that uh, as far as like what's happened in the past, like the witches cult was trying to like get their hands on Emilia so that they could like put Satella in her body
Potentially,
or
yeah.
something like that. That was my understanding of it. So,
Yeah.
and I I couldn't help but think, I need to, go and like look things up to double check it, but I'm
Yeah. I think
I
I
thought
pointed
that,
something out
yeah,
too.
it certainly sounds to me like Rie Takahashi
Yes.
voicing Satella, and Rie Takahashi being the voice of Emilia.
Yeah, when me and Brian were watching it,
Mhm.
one of us brought up the fact we might have done it at the same time. Like,
Mhm.
doesn't who's her voice actress?
Mhm.
Like, because it was like, I mean, because we were going back and forth about the idea of is this Amelia, and then it was like, well, there's one way we could find out. Like, who's the voice actress right now? It sounds familiar, and I think then you looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I looked it up. I wasn't able to confirm that. We just went back and replayed it, and we were like, that sounds a hell of a lot like Rie Takahashi.
Yeah, yeah.
Um. So, and I mean,
That's interesting.
That'd be a
So
good
you
yeah.
think that that ritual was in this timeline, he spent maybe too long in the Tea Party, or he spent too long trying to get things together, and that ritual was completed, maybe.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that is how the Witch of Envy is now, yeah, just kind of walking around, gooping around.
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
sort of my thought on it, I guess. So yeah.
I like
That
that
was
theory.
yeah, so I'm curious to see how that pans out. So Subaru is just about to be like, I don't know what was gonna happen to Subaru with Satella there, but Garf comes in and just saves him, like just fucking like ground pounds Satella. Um and then like he just grabs Subaru and they start running, and then Satella like just stops and gives up and starts heading for the mansion. And Subaru is just like, "Oh hell no you don't." Um and then the very last thing we see, I think it's even like after the credits.
Yeah, I
Like
think
it's
there
an
was an
after
after
credit
credits,
scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
as
which has been
Rosewall
pretty
is
common.
yeah,
Mhm.
as Rosewall is enveloped in shadow, he has a line where he says, "Try not to make any mistakes next time, Natsuki Subaru." Which
Mhm.
basically confirms that Rosewall knows about Return by Death.
Yes, he
He's,
Mm.
does.
I mean, yeah, he's put it together at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Subaru's let slip a few things to him. So I think he's
Hmm.
kind of figured this out.
Yeah. So it's really interesting, and I guess like I'm I feel like now, so at that point, like that's the end of the episode. So now I'm kind of curious to hear like your guys' thoughts on like where you think this is gonna go, because I think this timeline doesn't work, right? I feel like Subaru is gonna have to die and restart again, because like Satella being there, and like not to mention like if, but I'm also curious like if Satella did like take over Emilia, if Subaru resets time, is that going to have an effect on Satella? Because Satella is the one that seemingly gave him this power, right?
Yeah. But she gave him this power, making she gave him this power with the intention of wanting him to be able to like reset fate. So I think she all of the interactions that happen around him, she would have to abide by that because
Mm-hmm.
that's her game. I mean,
Well, it almost seems like what? Why does she do this? Right? Presumably,
Mm-hmm.
we she wants Subaru to keep coming back from the dead, right? To keep returning by death, respawning, right? She also,
Mm-hmm.
presumably, because the whole witches cult is all about this ritual of, we think, bringing her a physical form, kind of, like Voldemort style, basically. you know, uh, is like, if those are her goals, then one likely serves the other, right? So maybe she can't. Maybe the reason why she keeps bringing Subaru back is so that he can make that a reality, because the witch's cult keeps being prevented from doing this. So she wants him to keep fixing things where he thinks he's working to, like, promote Amelia to, like, throne and do all these good things, and really he's kind of like doing the witch's bidding all this time.
that could be something. I
Oh,
also
okay.
think that one big thing at play, because it's been hinted at so much, is that the witch's like obsession and desire towards Subaru. I mean, she starts it by saying like, "I love you, I love you, I love you," and I think that that really goes into how just unnaturally and illogically obsessed she is with him specifically for whatever reason, whether it's just she just wanted to hyperfixate or if there's something deeper there that she saw potential in. But
Mm-hmm.
I think right now she's going towards the castle because maybe she wants to get rid of the things that have clouded his desire. Like he has things he cares about that he's loving, and maybe her twisted goals wanted to lead him towards loving her. Even though that's not really how it works, I think maybe if we're trying to get into her mind, her hyperfixation and the way that she's obsessing, I think she has this warped reality of like because the witch of Echidna even said that like it's your return to death is a representation of what was it? What were the exact words? Did you have them written down?
Delusion.
Of her
Yeah,
delusions.
delusion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so what if the return from death represents that feeling of her wanting to have control over the thing that she loves most and thinking that by having that control it'll bring her closer to her when in reality it's taking him further away, and she's slowly starting to slip out of that. And so that's why now she's making that move of saying I love you, I love you, I love you, because to her that's because Aishadu is the strongest form of love you can say. To her, in
Right.
her mind, it's like, right, if I go tell him, this is me being upfront, and oh, I'll just go kill the other people that he's starting to fall for because whoa, made a mistake there. It's fine. This is just a thought, but I think that's one way to interpret her actions is, through the delusions and the obsession. She she's not actually looking at things realistically, and this return from death was just a ploy to do her bidding and get him closer to her because she's just confusingly obsessed with him. Yeah,
Well,
that's
there's
the theory
Well,
I
also
have.
there's
maybe.
also a thought that I had, which was that like this is the first time that Subaru has had a real conversation with somebody about the fact that he has this return by death ability, and
Yes.
Satella is the Witch of Envy. So
Yes.
this is the first time that
Yes.
She's
Satella hasn't been
envious of that.
Yeah.
this is the first time that Satella hasn't been able to do anything about Subaru talking about this power that she supposedly has gifted him. So
Mhm.
perhaps there's some envy going on here.
She's jealous of the. Well, because Subaru specifically says of a kid, I forget if it's like immediately after or when he's still in like the Microsoft Windows desktop, but but like he says like hey, I'm gonna rely on like the kid is useful now, right? He's realized that she's very knowledgeable, but not even that, right? On top of her just being knowledgeable about stuff, he now has somebody to talk to about his very traumatic emotions around this return by death, right? He has a confidant now that he can talk to about this and say, "Wow, I'm really sad because I keep dying all the time," right? And she can actually understand him. So that sharing of that emotional
intimacy,
that intimacy, is maybe what Satella is jealous of.
Yeah, because she wants that. Yeah.
Because I think maybe her delusion that is keeping him returning by death is her love for him. That's the delusion, is that she has this love for him. He doesn't really love her back. He doesn't even know her. He thinks she's a creepy, evil, nightmare witch. But she wants him, and so her delusion maybe this return by death thing is her version of love. Because hey, who doesn't want their loved ones to stick around and always do good things and always be alive and healthy, right? Maybe her version of that is, oh well, you keep dying, so I'm just gonna keep bringing you back because I love you.
Yeah.
Right? This is helping. You are happy about this, right? It's like, no, this is horrible. What are you?
You are hurting me?
And distance makes the heart grow fonder. So in her mind, she's thinking, and because I've never actually spoken to you, you must love me so much.
Because you're from a different dimension.
Oh my god.
Like she's just like got all these delusions of how she thinks all these things work. Like because we've now seen that other witches will use some of that shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
It also, so going back to the episode with the parents, I just thought of this, right? So, Subaru's real sad. He's a real depressed boy. He's not going to school, right?
Right.
It's like P's episode, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to go to school. I don't feel like it. And then in the park, when he's sitting there with his dad and they're having a heart to heart, and he hears this voice, right, calling out to him from beyond, right? And he sees Amelia, basically, right?
Right.
And he's like, oh, and Rem, yes, and Rem. And he's like, now I have loved ones, right? In this moment of cross-dimensional whatever the heck's going on, all of a sudden I have this person who believes in me. Like, and a second ago I didn't have that. We see that as Amelia, but we also know that it's the Witch of Envy whose creepy ghost hands pulled him into this other dimension. At least we think that that's the case, because it's tied to the return to death mechanic, we think, right? I mean, that makes sense to me, that those two are connected. So maybe, since we have this connection between Amelia and the Witch of Envy, whether or not it's that Amelia is just like the perfect avatar for her and they're trying to cram the Witch of Envy into her and like make the witch a new body, or whether there's something a little more intimate going on and maybe she's already the witch's avatar, kind of, and just hasn't unlocked that power yet. The fact that it's Amelia that calls to him and that it's the Witch of Envy that pulls him into their world, as far as it seems, maybe it was the witch all along that was calling out to him and telling him that she loved him.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But yeah, so I guess, do you guys have any predictions for next episode?
I think she's going towards the castle to try to fuck up Rem. And I do think Subaru is going to get some big information drop before he dies, and I think he will die again in order to and that the save point will go back to where he was. I don't think it's gonna reset without him, like without Amelia and Rem being okay. Like I don't think they're gonna do that. It could be a new save point, but there'll still be a way to save them. and he's gonna get a big
Yeah.
information dump first.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get a new save point. I think. I don't like. Not a lot of time has even passed.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
The last time he.
Although
Yeah.
now she's more directly involved, she could just be like, "No, fuck you, I'm gonna update the save point." So who
Yeah, it's
knows?
true. She could.
It's true. It's whatever. I mean, as far as I could tell, there's no like rhyme or reason to when he gets a save point. It's just like when the Witch of Envy's like, yeah, that'll do.
When it feels kind of
Yeah.
like earned to the audience, but that's more meta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
What about you,
yeah,
Brian?
yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you just said. I feel like he's gonna die. I don't think the save point is gonna be updated. At least I hope not. Because if it does, oh fuck. I also think that that Garf, our bestiality Bakugo boy, is
Yep.
That's not the word.
I think that he's gonna he and Subaru are gonna team up, and they're gonna go from enemies to friends.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the next episode. Well, no, I feel like it's likely to happen in the next episode. But yeah, those are my predictions. How about you, Forrest?
Well, in honor of Ian not being here, I'm gonna predict rocks fall, everyone dies.
Damn. Fuck.
Shit.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
yeah, I think we're gonna get a reset. I don't think we're gonna learn more about the rest of the witches. As much as I'd like to hear more about the rest of the witches, I don't think we're gonna meet them too soon. Maybe
Yeah.
the next time he goes back to Tea Party, I think.
Yeah, possibly. That's
he's
it's
in
probably gonna be a bit.
of a mess.
I mean, in fairness, like we got a lot of good witches stuff. So as much as I would love more, I understand. Got to pace it out, right?
Yeah.
Small doses.
Yeah. But with that,
actually, I was
oh,
thinking,
go ahead.
Hang on. I had one last. I don't know if this was addressed last episode, but when we see that after credit scene with Rosewall, right?
Yeah.
And he's like being submerged in the goopy ocean of shadows. He's holding a gospel.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. He is. Do you think maybe it's the other one?
Copy of what Beatrice has.
He says there's two, not gospels of the witches, but true books of wisdom or something, right?
Right.
Like, the witch versions are facsimiles of, and say that they predict the future, but don't actually predict the future, whereas the two books of wisdom do. And that's one of the ones Beatrice has. Wouldn't it make sense if he had the other one?
Yeah, it would make sense.
Like, otherwise, why is he holding, like, if there's only two, and that's not one of the two, and we know Beatrice has the other one, then that makes him a witch cultist, which I don't think makes a lot of sense.
Well, no, because Rosewall said that she's not a witch cultist. So so if he's holding the other true, I mean, we don't know exactly what it is that they're doing or what they believe in, but somehow it's tied to the witch, but they're not witch cultists. That's basically what we know.
Well, I'm saying, like, he said that the gospel Beatrice has is one of the good ones, right? It's one of the actual future predictors, right? So if the one he's holding is not the second one, then it has to be one of the defective ones, which means he's an actual witch cultist.
Right, which doesn't make any sense.
Which I don't think is the case. So it has to be the other truth-telling.
Hell yeah.
Ooh. The thick plottins.
Which maybe explains how he put together Subaru's Return by Death mechanic so quickly.
Oh, that's true. It makes you wonder how
off a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder how much Beatrice knows too.
Yeah.
Depends on how far the book goes, but
I guess.
It goes up until, I can presume, the defeat of the Witch of Envy or the victory of the Witch of Envy. She knows everything.
Yeah. Well, heck. Well, guys, I think we did a podcast.
We did it.
Hell yeah.
Wait. The question.
Oh.
That's my prediction. He's going to ask the question.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's my prediction.
I like this
Yes.
prediction.
I love it, and I need it.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It was a lot of fun. We'll, of course, be back same time next week to talk about more ReZero, more SAO, and more degenerate anime.
Nice.
But, yeah. Thanks for coming and putting up with us, and I hope that I didn't run the stream too horribly. It's my first time trying to do this.
Pretty good.
It did good.
But yeah,
sorry for the technical difficulties.
Yeah.
That was not you. That was all me.
Nah, you good. But yeah, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. And hey, where can they find everybody? Katie?
What up? You can find me on Twitter at Kaniday Official. That's Kaniday Official. And I also have another podcast called The Weird Flex, but okay podcast that I host with Jordan Jax Blade Downs. You can find us on Twitter at Weird Flex Pod and on SoundCloud and iTunes at Weird Flex, but okay podcast. And I also am on Dr. Crafty as a voice actress and writer on YouTube. That's Dr. Crafty, Dr. Crafty. And on Twitter, you can find all of us at KRWBY Productions and stuff, and I'm there. Yay!
Yeah. Where can they find you, Forrest?
They can find me right here on this here podcast next week.
Hell yeah. And you can find me, of course, here on KRWBY Productions. You can also find me on Twitter at Hubbard Audio. I stalk Twitter, but I don't post a lot, so you can follow me, but it probably won't do much for you. But you can also find me in the KRWBY Productions Discord server. We have a public Discord server. If you're not in it, highly recommend you join. We have a lot of fun in there. And actually, we also have a Patreon only server as well, where we have we have events and stuff that we hold with our patrons and like game nights and things. It's a fun time. So if you're interested in that, maybe go check out our Patreon and stuff.
Woo!
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye!